Welcome back, guys. Today in this video I'm going to be covering the question of whether or not you can become a self-taught developer in 2023, and the quick answer is of course you can. Whoever told you otherwise is lying to you. And here in this channel we like to keep things real, so I'm about to tell you why it is you can do this and why you should stop listening to others who say you can't. First things first, companies that are hiring people, they're looking for people who can do the job. It's as simple as that. They're not looking for people who have a certificate or a degree. With all due respect to people who have degrees and masters and PhDs, but companies are looking for people to perform a certain task, and to perform that task you need to have a certain set of skills. And regardless of whether or not you have a degree, if you can't perform that skill, then either you're not going to get the job, or if you do get the job because of your certifications, then it's only a matter of time before you lose that job. Making sure that you're skilled is very important. So that's the first thing that you need to understand. If you hold a degree but you can't get a job done, then either you're not going to get the job, or if you do get the job, it's only a matter of time before you lose it. So it's more important to become skilled and to focus on gaining a skill and becoming better at that skill than to focus on getting a degree, right? You can become skilled and get a degree, or you can get a degree while you're getting skilled, right? But there's no reason why you need to spend 4 years to become skilled when it's something that people can pick up in a single month. And again, this is not a video to tell you to not get a degree or educate yourself. This is merely me saying there are other means for you to become skilled in what you do in a far shorter time period. Just try to think about it for a second. Getting a degree, regardless of your age, trying to get a degree and spending 3 or 4 years to achieve that, to get that paper, that certificate that says you are now a degree holder, but you spent 4 years and you've passed X amount of exams, but you haven't been able to implement or practice these things that you've learned in a real working environment, and you start working and you struggle to transfer these skills that you've learned into a real job, right? Now compare that to someone who spent a month or two to pick up the basics, and they've practiced these skills that they've picked up in a real world project, and now they're spending 4 years at a company where they can further enhance their trade and their skill. Which one do you think would do better? And remember, like I said, I'm not here to mislead anyone. I'm not here to give out misinformation. I'm talking about things from my personal experience and from the experience of people around me. I've seen it happen with myself, and I've seen it happen with other people. I've even worked in companies where I would get hired and there would be developers there who've been there for 7 years, and they mentioned that they're 25 years old, which means they would have started when they were 17, 18 years old. And I asked them, how is it that you got this? They tell me that, they were going to college, but they found it too slow for them, so they dropped out and they picked it up on their own and they started working. Obviously, there are people who are going to say, well, things were very different back then 7 years ago. But I could promise you, people are still getting hired today. People who are self-taught developers are still getting hired today. I'm in touch with recruiters on a daily basis, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard that a company has had a bad experience with a degree holder who came in and couldn't do what they said they could do, and they eventually ended up being fired. And that's the reason why they have tests in companies now. Even if you have a degree, you still have to take a test when you come into a company usually, because they want to make sure that you are able to do what you say you do, right? If it was all about the degree, then they wouldn't have any tests. As long as you had the certificate, then you'd be welcome in the job. But it's not like that. You can have the degree, you'll still have to sit a competency test to make sure that you deliver. In one of my recent videos, I think it was the 10 tips to becoming a programmer in 1 month, I mentioned that you would have people who would come across your path and tell you that you can't do what you're doing, or you need a degree to do what you're doing. And I also said to disregard those. It's about what you think, it's about what you do. And I stick to that because I've experienced it myself, and I've received comments on that video saying that it's better to get a degree than to try to be self-taught, and I completely disagree with that. And not just based on my experience, but from experience of other people around me, like I said, who are still getting hired to this day and they don't have a degree and they're just starting out. So there's no reason why you can't do it. And I genuinely dislike it when people say you can't do something, because it means either they didn't try, or they didn't try hard enough, or they do the same thing but they don't want competition, so they're trying to discourage you from doing it. I'm here to tell you that you can definitely do it. In fact, you could do anything that you want to. If you put your mind to it and you put the effort in, you can definitely do it. There's no doubt about it. You are the only obstacle in your way to get this done. If you have the means, if you have a good internet connection and you have access to information and resources, there is no reason why you can't do this. And like I said, if you go back to one of the other videos, in fact, I'll leave it in the description below. If you want to get a copy of the book that I used to learn programming, then make sure you check that link out. I've also explained in another video how I learned programming in a single month, so if you're interested in that, you could check it out in the description. And as I mentioned, I have a video out that highlights the 10 tips to learning programming in a single month, so if you're interested in that, you'll find it in the description as well. That's it for this video, guys. If you've benefited from this video, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. If you have any questions, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, because it helps me continue bringing you content like this. Till next time, keep it real.